This is how I need you guys to be saving all of your documents from here on out. I'll have folders. Those folders will not stay in the location for very long. I have to copy those out so that our P drive does not get filled up. So realize your timeliness in saving your work is really, really important, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go down to the bottom of your screen. I just realized you can't really see the bottom of my screen. There we go. Right at the bottom of the screen, you're going to go ahead to your File Explorer. Inside the File Explorer, you're going to go ahead on the left-hand side, and you will see under this PC or my computer or whatever it might say on yours, you will see a public drive, and that's the P drive. When you open up the public drive, you want to follow this set of instructions. So in the public drive, if you go to Classes and Glaze, most of you are familiar with those steps because we've gotten our brushes that way. But now you'll see it looks a little bit different. There are only two folders. Everything that was sitting in here before, I now placed into the Teacher Handouts folder. This is the one that's really important for you. And I want to make sure that you have a glance as to what's inside of that folder. So that folder has one folder for each of the class periods. Sorry, let me shut that down. Has one folder for each of the class periods, which will allow you to save. So obviously we're in period 5, and you'll see that I automatically put in today 3 folders. One, best photo. I want you to drop in a photo or more of things that you have taken the shot of that you are super proud of. Okay? Those are things that I really want to look at, and I want to see what kind of a photographer you are. You can put a file folder if you have multiple images. I want to welcome you to go ahead in here. If you need me to make the file folder, sometimes it'll go through, sometimes it won't. You're going to go ahead and say New Folder, and you're going to call it by your name. So you're going to call it by your name, and then inside of there, you're going to go ahead and save. Okay? Let's go back to period 5, though. You've got the 11/19 shoot. That is yesterday's shoot. So those photographs that you guys took yesterday, I want you to edit the best and drop them in here. Obviously, I need at least one per person. Okay? And then finally, your fantasy portrait. Those fantasy portraits, same thing. You're going to save it in here. Now, when you're in Photoshop, it's really important that you guys realize, let me get here. It's really important that you realize it is important that you save it to whatever you're saving it to as of right now. So some of you may have realized there's a way around certain things. If you did, great. If you need a place to save, let me know. I'll see if I can help you out. Most of you have been saving on your desktops and things. That's kind of slowing your computer down, so keep that in mind. So you're going to find it, and in this screen, you're going to go ahead and call it by your name. So I'm going to call it Jen Glaze, and then some hint as to what this project is. So if this is Fantasy Portrait, I would call it Jen Glaze Fantasy Portrait. Okay? So I hit save. It's going to go ahead and save it. At that point in time, to save it to the P drive, I am not using Photoshop any longer. You can go ahead and shut this down completely, shut Photoshop down completely. Again, if you're trying to save to turn into me using Photoshop, you are absolutely doing it wrong. Again, I will show you what happens. You know what, I don't think I can show you what happens, but I'll explain what happens. Okay, so I'm going to go back exactly where I saved it to. That's another problem. Some of you don't look and see where you're saving your documents to. You just hit save and you run away. Make sure you look at the document location when you save it. So I'm going to go in Works. I'm going to go ahead and go to the J's. There it is right here. I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to copy it. Once again, you go to your Windows File Explorer at the bottom, you find your document, you right click, and you copy it. That's your first step to save for me. Then you move over to the P drive, you go over to Classes, you go to Me, you go to Student Dropbox for period 5, and then you go to the section that you need to be. In this case, it's Fantasy Portrait. Then you right click and you paste it. At that stage, you should see this save window pop up. If you don't see the save window pop up, it's very likely you're doing it incorrectly. It does take a while to to transfer the file completely, especially on these Photoshop files, okay? Now, if I look at this, let me make this bigger. You'll look under size. If you look under size and you see that there's a 0 KB, once again, huge indicator that you did it wrong. Okay? Notice this is a pretty big file, a ton of layers on here, but you'll see a large size here. The other thing I want you to note is right over here for your Photoshop icon. Sometimes I will find a student has the Photoshop icon with a black arrow in the corner, which is a link. You want to make sure that it doesn't come up as a link because that's a direct link to your computer. When I'm grading, I'm on my computer. It can't find your computer. Okay? So make sure you've got this. You may also want to make sure that you can open it. And then at that stage in time, you're turned in. You can go back to this one. Make sure you've got your best photo, your shot from yesterday. And those 3 pieces should easily be able to be in today. So again, find wherever you save that image. If it's on your desktop, you're going to go to your desktop. You're going to find that image. You're going to right click and you're going to copy it. Make sure it's renamed before you copy it. If it's not, right here. Like let's say I need to rename this one. I'm going to right click and I'm going to rename it right now. I don't want to rename this one. So I'm going to rename this. I'm going to press enter. Then I can go ahead and copy it. You cannot rename when it's in the P drive though. So it is really important that you do the renaming while you're on your own, either your desktop or your H drive or your memory device, whatever it might be. And then you just copy and paste into Photoshop. I'm sorry, into the P drive, okay? So that is exactly what you need to know on saving in order to get a proper grade for the work that you guys do. Let's get going.